The Buffalo Sabres. They've been quiet all offseason. Well, not today. Tage Thompson, locked down. You know what that means. I have one question for you. Welcome back, hockey fans. Welcome in if this is your first time to the channel. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow. And today, it's Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. That's right, the Buffalo Sabres, they're making headlines. Tage Thompson, locked down. But, you know what that means? I have one question for you. Our question of the day. We're going to get to that in just a moment on Today in Hockey. But before we get to that, we got to get through Today in Hockey history. And then we got to get to, that's right, our headlines are back. We have some NHL teams making some moves, and they segue perfectly into our question of the day. Tage Thompson, the Buffalo Sabres, with help from Jfresh Hockey, some other analytics, we're going to break it down. Stick around for that. If you do enjoy the content, take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. We're just getting started, but we're going to keep bringing you hockey videos almost every day. Want to make sure you never miss a beat. And again, I appreciate it. Today in hockey history, on this date, August 30th, in 1982, the Washington Capitals hired David Poile as their GM. And real fun fact, he was only 32 years old when they hired him, and they would go on to make the Stanley Cup Finals in his first ever season, and that was their first ever appearance. Another fun fact for Mr. Poile, he is currently the GM of the Nashville Predators, and he is their one and only in the history of the team. So very cool indeed. But headlines, headlines, headlines. I said it, they're back. Let's see who's in them. Vegas Golden Knights, you added some Tendy depth. Adin Hill was acquired by the team from the Sharks for a fourth-round pick in 2024. Again, Logan Thompson's going to be your starter in net. I think he's going to have a big season. Check out my Knights preview. We'll leave a link down in the description for you guys, but Calder Trophy eligible Logan Thompson. Be on the lookout for him this season. All right, Buffalo Sabres. I promised it. Here it is. You guys made headlines today, and it was in a big way. Tage Thompson signs a 7-year, $50 million extension, and the number we all really care about, $7.1 million annually. So, you know what that means? I thought it'd be fun to do another question of the day. Did the Sabres overpay for Tage Thompson? With help from Jfresh Hockey, hockeyreference.com, cat friendly, we're going to break down Tage Thompson's last season, see what the numbers are telling us moving into this season, and then we're also going to look at some player comps. Who else is making around $7.1 million? And then we can answer the question, did the Buffalo Sabres, did they overpay for Tage Thompson? Or did they maybe get a value? Let's find out. All right, so here we go. As promised, Tage Thompson's 2021-2022 season. And I tell you what, if I had one word for it, it would be breakout. That's right. We did do a video breaking down a couple videos breaking down 6 potential breakout candidates for this season. I don't know if Tage Thompson would have made the list last season, but I tell you what, he absolutely broke out last season. Look at that point total. It should be right above my head. Yes, right up there. 68 points. That's fantastic. 38 goals. That is wonderful. And 30 assists to go along with it. So totaling 68 points, but the big concern, look at the rest of those point totals. 9, 12, 0, career high of 14 prior to last season. So we have to ask, was this just a one-hit wonder sort of thing? Or is he going to continue to progress, continue to be an excellent player? Tell you what, right off the bat, I think Tage Thompson is a fantastic NHLer. I think he's going to continue to grow. I think he's going to continue off of the success he found this season. But why? Well, he found his shot. Look at those shooting percentages. 5.5%, 6.5%, 8.3%. And then we see the jump. 15%. Now, don't get me wrong. That jump does kind of scare me a little bit. I would love to see another season with that same number just to give us a little more support. But even if it does regress a little bit just due to natural things, bad luck, for example, what if it drops down 12, 13, maybe even 11%? I still think increased ice time plus increased confidence is going to mean that goal tally is going to stay right around the same thing. But if he can keep that shooting percentage up, because he found his shot last season. Let's take a look at the numbers. Shooting shots, 97 percentile, 91st percentile, absolutely fantastic. He had a great season though. It was all about the offense and his finishing. This all makes sense. 94% WAR though. We have to talk about it. It was a great season, and he finished in the 99th percentile in finishing. That means he was better than 99% of NHLers at finishing last season, and his goals per 60, it was in the 98th percentile. Just fantastic. It really speaks to the amazing sharp shooting season that he had. And again, that shot percentage, I can't wrap my brain all the way around it, but it is fantastic. Another area that he really excelled last season, especially in this small sample size, was off the rush. He really did establish himself 100 percentile off the rush this season. Now, whether or not that's a product of his game or how the Sabres like to play, they weren't a very good team last season, so they were coming from behind a lot, and maybe that's just a product of the team too last season. But if he can keep that success up, if they play at a high rate, and maybe they start turning this away from chasing games to them pushing the pace, that rush is going to come in handy. So absolutely great to see that. But he also made his teammates better. We see him ranking in the 87th percentile there. His passing numbers, he absolutely could improve, right? We're not going to just celebrate the good. We got to talk about the bad as well. We do see some red. Red is bad on these player cards. We do see some red in his passing, but his passing numbers, I fully expect those to increase again. More confidence, increased ice time, more trust from your manager. All of that stuff makes the difference, right? It absolutely contributes. So other things that he did really well, though, his entry and exit numbers were fantastic. Sure, he could clean up those zone entries a little bit in that sample size, but his puck retrieval numbers were also fantastic. He's putting in the effort. He's putting in the work. You love to see it. It's not all about him. So Tage Thompson, he had a fantastic season last year. I do think that he's going to continue this trend. I don't think that he's going to regress, but $7.1 million a year is a lot of money. Who else is making that much? Here we go, the competition. So big shout out to Cap Friendly for the cap numbers, hockey reference on the stats, and Jfresh Hockey on the player cards. What we did here, I compiled a list of all the players who are making right around $7.1 million this season, and oddly, it's not that big of a list, but the list is a mix of stars, and there are a couple that I guess we could say missed. So let's break it down. We'll run through the list real quick. Nico Hischier, Clayton Keller, Kyle Connor, Kevin Hayes, Nazem Kadri, John Klingberg, Gabriel Landeskog, Avalanche fans, Matt Barzal, Anders Lee, 2 Islanders back-to-back, Max Pacioretty, James Van Riemsdyk, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, oof, that one's rough, and William Nylander there rounding out the list. He comes in at just under $7 million. Take a look at that player card, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think you guys got a value as well. I would love to dive deeper into his stats and his numbers, but just off the face of it, that's a great looking player card. So, all right. We got to talk about the players, right? So there are some big names on this list, absolutely. Nico Hischier, captaining the Devils to success. We see his stats there at the top along with Clayton Keller's. Nico Hischier, very interesting to see. He really took the NHL by storm. 20 goals, 52 points that first season. Then kind of regressed a little bit, 17-30, still solid, 14-22. But then rounded out to form last season, recaptured that 20-goal scorer and eclipsed the 60-point mark for the first time. Clayton Keller, same thing, 2017, 2018, both treated them very well. 65 points for Keller, absolutely not bad at all, but he did regress a little bit. And then last season, we know he had another excellent season. Could have been a little bit of a breakout season for him as well, but unfortunately it did end short due to injury. We wish him a speedy recovery. Hope he's ready to go, but I fully expect both of those players to have excellent seasons this year. And those cap numbers, sometimes they do talk about it being a little high. Keller with Arizona, because that's a big chunk of their cap space, and he's one of their highest players, if not the highest player. Let me know in the comments. Nico Hischier, I think that number, sure, they caught some heat initially, but I really think that number is going to turn into a value sooner rather than later. Nazem Kadri, the Flames were just celebrated for inking him for 7 years, $7 million. That's a 31-year-old centerman you just signed, and that player card, we're looking at 74% compared to Tage Thompson's 94th percentile. I gotta say, I might prefer Tage Thompson in that regard. William Nylander, I threw him on there as well just because that's a fantastic season, but if we notice, that WAR did grade out just under Tage Thompson. So looking back at our talking points, we talked about the big names, right? There are also some misses. We did talk about Marc-Edouard Vlasic. James Van Riemsdyk, he's a little up there in age now. Max Pacioretty, if he can stay healthy, maybe he can still have that impact. But I feel like this contract is very comparable to the young stars. We just talked about Nico Hischier and Clayton Keller, and it feels like this is kind of where that, you have a lot of confidence in your player. You think he's going to be a future star. So this is the dollar figure they're kind of attaching to that. So the Sabres, maybe they were a little early, but they see something they like, and I got to admit, so do I. So here we go. We looked at Tage Thompson, his season last year. We looked at who else is getting paid around that dollar figure, $7.1 million. So with all things considered, do we think that the Buffalo Sabres, did they overpay for Tage Thompson? Absolutely not. I think they got a heck of a deal here. I think this is going to be a value signing. Now, sure, if he something happens, gets hurt or regresses, I'm going to be eating crow, right? But for right now, the numbers, they seem to speak kindly to him. I really do think that he's going to continue to progress, not regress. I think that shooting percentage is going to stay the same, and I think the Buffalo Sabres are going to continue to build around him. The young talent is going to start to flourish. Jack Quinn, Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin might be the best defender we don't talk about. I like what they've got cooking in Buffalo. It smells excellent. Tage Thompson was a great signing in my opinion. $7 million, maybe a little rich today, but I think it's going to look real good down the line. So what do you guys think though? Is Tage a one-hit wonder, or is he going to continue to grow? Was this a good signing or a bad one for the Sabres? Love to talk to you guys in the comments. Always love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys again. Always so much fun. Until tomorrow, cheers.